Yep, we are live. I see what everybody. Nope, nobody's texted me back. Justin was here a second ago, but he bailed. John Mathers should be joining us pretty soon. All right, we still have a little minute. We'll just let that photo hang out up there. Let people soak that in. Let you form some thoughts on that.
So you get that fucking lamp out of there. Ah.
All right, it's the top of the hour. We're officially live now. So we've got the photo up here. I've got this week we have two photos to discuss. This one is the Whiny Little Bitch Fest 2021, coming soon to a dive bar with questionable business practices in your city. Let's not name names and keep them to ourselves, but we could all kind of figure out if this was taking place in Denver, where it would be taking place, and giggle to yourself. In all fairness, I don't know if it should have been. They got sponsored by Fox News. Seems like it should have been more like, what is that news site? Newsmax or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Monster Energy drink sponsor is appropriate, and Parlor, yeah. Brought to you by these patriotic sponsors. Like this, I don't know who made this, but this thing is so accurate. You think about, dive bar with questionable business practices. 14 or 15 local bands who all sold tickets to open this banger, performing on an outdoor patio stage made of 2 pallets and a karaoke machine for a PA. We've all played a similar show, but not with the likes of these bands who've fallen from glory.
I feel like Ice Earth should be headlining that show.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, I don't know. Five Finger Death Punch is pretty popular. I think, don't they play like the Broomfield Event Center when they come?
I don't know. They should at least be above Trapped. Come on.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't they play at the football stadium?
Who?
Isn't that Five Finger Death Punch?
I don't know the football stadium, but I think like Broomfield Event Center. I mean, the Rolling Stones play the football field, not FDP or whatever, FFDP. Trapped.
Anyone watching this likes Five Finger Death Punch. We got a lot of their records at the shop.
Yeah, they're all in the used section.
What the fuck is Trapped? I've never even heard of that.
I think they're like
some bad new metal bullshit.
Basically.
Yeah, it's like some KBPI,
like new hard rock, basically.
Enough said, man. Enough said. I got it at KBPI.
I think you'd love it, Winslow. You should check it out.
I probably will when we're done with this.
All right, I got another one. Oh, what did I do with that? Hang on here. Hang on, folks. We're making shit up. Dang, we lost this. I had this other thing I was going to share. It was this. Hey, everybody's here. Well, this dude that had this dude recreated the Kiss Love Gun album cover in his living room with mannequins.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was with mannequins.
Ah.
And he had posted, I follow all these Kiss sites, on Facebook or whatever, and the dude had posted pictures of it today because a couple of his female mannequins showed up, on the cover of Love Gun. It's got the women in the foreground, and he has them all painted up. It's pretty cool, but maybe a little over the top having recreated that whole thing in your living room. Where'd Justin go?
I saw him for half a second.
Yeah, that's the second time. I figured out how to do that now. That's the second time he's dipped in and dipped out. Can you hear us, Johnny?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool.
Can you hear me?
I can loud and clear.
Yeah.
And there, Brazil. You on Brazil?
What's going on?
What are you doing, man?
Chilling.
All right.
Checking this out.
Let's see. A couple of things before we dive in here. Now, this was a kind of I had a little bit of a moral dilemma today, and I had made up my mind earlier that I was not going to buy the Lakai Black Sabbath shoes.
Well, I almost sent that to you because I was like, yeah, Josh should probably see this.
Yeah, I was like, no, man, I'm a Vans loyalist. I'm not caving. And then my daughter today sent me a picture from work where she works, and they have them. And I'm like, God damn, and she gets a discount and stuff. And I was like, God damn, the Black Sabbath Lakai shoes. And then I checked my bank account, and I've been stimulated. So I was like, she gets a discount. There they are, and I got some stimulus money. Maybe I should stimulate the economy at my feet. So I caved, and I probably need to write a letter to old Van Duren there and apologize. But at the same time, I was like Vans loyalist, but I'm also a Black Sabbath guy. So I did get myself some Black Sabbath shoes.
So how stimulated are your feet right now?
I'm don't tell anybody, I'm wearing slippers right now, man.
So am I.
But it's having your favorite heavy metal or punk rock band shoe just seems kind of stupid to begin with. They had the Circle Jerks Vans, the Social Distortion Vans, but I had Iron Maiden Vans back a while back. It just seems kind of goofy. Like the socks, I can almost. I got some Motorhead socks, some Slayer socks. I have Circle Jerk socks, but having a Black Sabbath shoe just seems really freaking goofy. And if you're thinking, it's like 1969 in fucking Birmingham, they're like, maybe, we're all dreamed out, hey, maybe one day we can open up for the local big guys. Or they like, maybe one day we'll have our own shoe.
Right. That's the goal.
It's the dream.
You gotta get a shoe.
When are we getting those Roic shoes made?
Oh man, as soon as those royalties start rolling in, got it. I did get some.
Down here wants to chew on things. Can't have that.
Can't have a chewing dog.
I could have him chewing on a $90 Black Sabbath sneaker.
Hey man,
That would be okay.
Goofy band sneakers. You remember when we had those Iron Maiden Vans in the shop? They were used and they were like size 19.
Oh yeah.
Killers graphics on them, and who the fuck bought those, man? Like, who's got feet that big?
Oh, those were huge, and that was the second pair of those that we'd sold in there, because the original ones were mine. They were my Iron Maiden Killer Vans.
Yeah, but them others that we had, man, they were like,
those were freaking those were boats, man.
I can't wear Vans because my feet are too wide. They're too skinny, and the rubber goes up too high. It fucking smashes my feet. So never worn Vans ever.
Bummer, man.
What do you mean it smashes your feet?
My feet are fucking wide. I got hobbit feet.
How's it smash? Oh, squishes them. Yeah, I got you.
But I'm very fucking stable. Like,
Yeah, hobbits seem like they're firm footed. All right, so Trey Gray says, "How do I brutal? You can brutal however you want, buddy. Whatever you do to brutal, do it, man." All right. One last thing before we dive in here. Shout out to Caltrops. I was just checking out that demo before we jumped on here. Caltrops from Denver. Dean and I were talking about it, and I was jamming to it, and that was some pretty good stuff, man. I'm pretty stoked on those guys.
yeah, those guys are pretty sweet.
Can't wait to maybe someday see them.
I think the last show that we had on the books before they quit doing shows was with Caltrops. Never happened. It was a Streets.
Oh, really? Yeah, actually, I remember seeing the flyer for that. All right, so we've got a panel of esteemed guests here today. I don't know where Justin went. Justin's bouncing around out in the ether somewhere. Oh, I didn't email you the link. I only sent him the link on there. Why didn't he say something? Here, I'll email you the link right now, dude. That's easy.
Well, how did he pop in and pop back out then?
I think on his phone is maybe what he was saying.
Ah.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds here. 2 seconds. So, yeah.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Johnny. How you doing?
I haven't seen any of these people for a long time.
A long fucking time, dude.
Yeah, it's man. I've been a complete fucking hermit since this pandemic thing started. I mean, I've literally seen 2 people in the last year,
Shit.
besides my family.
That is super hermit.
Yeah, that's super lockdown.
Yeah.
I think the last time
I mean, I go to work every day though. I mean, so I mean, I'm out all day long and see people, but you know, no, not many people I care about.
Yeah.
Good to see you made it out alive, man.
I'm still alive.
I think the last time I saw you, Johnny, was at the Larimer, and that was like 4 fucking years ago, dude.
Yeah, I think that was the last time.
Yeah.
We were like out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Fan shit.
Yep. That was like 4 years ago, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Right?
I mean, the last year has gone by like that. I can't even fucking believe it. Like, I mean, it seems like it was just yesterday that, like, in March where they were announcing like lockdown. I was like, holy shit. And then, I mean, that seems like 3 months ago.
Yeah,
it's crazy shit. It's like no one's been doing a goddamn thing, and it seems like the year has flown by. You think it would be the most brutal, longest year in the fucking history of years?
Oh, it's been the quickest year in my history.
Yeah.
I just blinked and it was gone. And I'm another year older. So
let's dive in here. You know, so there's a reason I've selected some of these folks here because as Dean and I were talking about before we went live here, there's like varying degrees of, you know, collecting records. And the question going across the ticker there at the bottom, are you a record collector or do you collect records? And I think just about all of us on here have had this conversation at some level at different times over the years. And we all approach it a little bit differently, I think. So let's just throw it out there. Are you a record collector or do you collect records? I'm going to answer first, and I'm going to say I collect records. I listen to most of the records I have, as I can, because there's a lot of them and there's only so much time in the day. There aren't certain ones that are like, no, don't touch that. Don't even think about it. I don't collect all the variants. I don't necessarily need the original pressing. And who is it? Tanya said she doesn't like to buy represses. The quality is often shite. And I would challenge that and say oftentimes the quality is much better. You have better vinyl, better packaging, et cetera, et cetera. So go around the room here. Has any thoughts pop into your head? Where do you think you sit on that probably moving scale?
I think everybody knows where I'm at.
Yeah, that's why you're here, man. I want that extreme view from somebody.
Dang.
Oh, Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm both actually. For sure. I mean, there isn't a record. I don't care how expensive it is that I won't play. I mean, I've played every single record that I bought. Will I be able to play all these records before I die? No.
Right.
But they're here, and I can play any record I want.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll play a $4,000 record. I don't give a shit because, like, I mean, I only collect what I like. I didn't used to collect variants, but Paulie, who you know, Josh.
Yep.
he kind of talked me in. Well, he didn't talk me into it, but he kind of got me into collecting. But I'll only variants are like covers. That's it, like different artwork and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
I could care less if there's it's a different label or it's the big hole or the small hole or whatever. That doesn't matter to me. I do prefer originals, but that is because I am a record collector. Like that part of me, I'm full on. I would prefer to have the original. I would prefer to have the first press. I don't need every fucking pressing of the record. And I agree with you that a lot of represses are kick ass. I mean, right down to the label art and everything. I mean, and you know, if you don't got $2,000 to drop on a fucking $2,000 record, perfect, almost perfect repress of that's the way to go.
Mhm.
A great record's a great record. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
No.
that's what.
But I buy
what
lots of new stuff too, like by new bands. I mean, and that shit, you know, most of it's not collectible. So
Right.
I love the music. I still love the music.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the records that we got when we got them were not collectible. We just got them because we wanted them and we wanted to play them because they were badass. You know.
Sure, they became collectible over the years.
Right. But so I mean, dude, I'm the same way. I don't own one single record that I've never not listened to, and I don't have anything in the rack that I will not listen to. You know, it's because it's untouchable or whatever. I don't own any records like that. Like I have records to listen to them. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I sometimes I'll geek out on the variants a little bit, you know, but mainly like the albums that I have duplicates of it's because like my old copy is fucking worn out and just beat to shit. So I want a good copy of it, you know? And that, you know, to your point, it's like you can go out and buy a killer sounding repress, you know? But I mean, and as far as the first pressings and all that go, I mean, I have many, many records that are first pressings, which is rad. But, you know, if it's like, I want this record for $20 versus the OG copy for $200, you know, $20 all day. You know, there's not a lot of records that I'm going to spend a small fortune on. There are a few that I would if I found them, but for the most part, it's like, you know, that's all I'm getting anymore is you know, repressed albums. You know?
What do you think is what do you think is the most you've spent on a record, Wenzel? John's probably off the charts, but
dude, not much, man. I'm like fuck.
I'm probably closer to Wenzel's. Fuck. I'm probably the most I've spent on a record is probably, you know, less than $150. I was trying to think of that before we did this, and I paid $75 for the UK pressing of the first Black Sabbath album. Like John was talking about it. The cover art's not different, but there are some different things. Like the back cover doesn't have the song titles. You've got the Vertigo label in the top corner. And I really wanted this because favorite band.
Too, right?
Yeah. Favorite band. This album started it all. And it came out in the UK a few months before it came out in the US. So to get ahead of the US pressing even. Yeah, like John said, gatefold with the upside down cross in it.
So that is the original.
Yeah, this is the original UK press.
Original UK press, yeah. They were all on Vertigo. And I swear they sound better, but
the first one. The
songs there's a little bit different order to the songs, and there's a different song on. There's a song in here that's not on the US pressing. You know, when I bought that, I did, you know, I've got, you know, I don't know what pressing this is, but it's an early US pressing. And then I do also have one of the more recent represses on the red vinyl with the bonus D side with extra tracks. Mm-hmm. And in that more recent US pressing, they brought the gatefold back with the upside down cross in it and whatnot. So there's certain records like that where I need the original. I've got the copy I got when I was a kid, and wow, this updated repress is probably the one I'm going to play the most, just because you know.
Well, because the one you got when you were a kid is played to death.
Yeah.
You know, it's all. So you get a new one. You know.
Yeah.
And then you take that choice first pressing and kind of. But dude, I'm still trying to think of like the most I've ever spent on a record, dude, and I can't. It's like $30 or $40, you know, ever.
Really?
Yeah, no, man, I've never bought like I've never paid collector prices for any of my records that I can remember. Yeah, like 30, maybe $50 at the way outside. And I don't even think that. I've sold records for a lot, for a couple $100, but.
So, like a good amount of my collection, everyone knows that I'm like really in Japanese punk, specifically from the 80s.
Oh yeah, I got that Mobs record, dude.
Oh, did you? Nice. I got that too right here. So that's a good example. Probably like a tenth of my collection is Japanese bands, but probably 1, 2, 3% of that is original stuff. It's mostly bootlegs. It's mostly like reissues. Actually, a lot of my 7-inches are some more original stuff from like the 90s and later. But like I wouldn't have much of a collection if it wasn't for like reissues and bootlegs. And you know, one thing that's funny is like a lot of those old tapes, they're hundreds of dollars. You know, they're my holy grail, so I'll never be able to get it. So when these reissues come out, they come with demos, they come with little biographies, they come with, you know, they're mastered better, they come with you know, maybe some live songs. Mm-hmm. So like when that pops out, I'm like, fuck yeah, sweet, $25. Like that's awesome. And I get all this like sweet information about the band. So for me, like I'm happy with that. And I wouldn't be able to even like be a part of this if I was going for like straight up originals. I just like, as much as I want that stuff. And I've been on like forums, you know, like forums where I'll be like, yo, I got this Cuban Gas LP, you know, it's a reissue. And people will be like, dude, like, fuck that. Like what's the point? It's original, but that original demo tape, it looks terrible. It sounds like shit. I mean, I want it, yeah, but like, you know, reissues and stuff, it has their place too, and it keeps this music going, and it keeps, you know, so that's kind of where I stand. I mean,
speaking of Human Gas, did you get one of those, the reissue of all that Human Gas stuff, that box set?
I did. Oh yeah,
badass, man. I got one of those too.
You got one of those? Oh, nice. See, that's like, that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You know, those original
that was cool packaging.
CDs, it's rad.
Yeah, it comes with a DVD that's never been released of like them playing live. It has all these pictures. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, there's people that have those old demos that are kind of like bashing on that kind of stuff, and it's like, dude, like, so that's kind of the difference between like a collector maybe and like a fan, you know, is that a collector, I don't know, I like, it can have more like of a monetary thing like behind it. Like I've been to a few expos, someone has a $300 record and I'm like, cool, what is that? And they can't really tell too much about it. Whereas like, you know, coming up through music, there's some people that, you know, that's why this is a great question, is because to some people, records in general, less in punk, but in the record collecting scene, it is more about a monetary sort of thing compared to just loving.
Records and hip hop records are crazy expensive. They're like 5 times.
Loving a record because the band, the music, the art, and what they're delivering to the world.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have those folks, and we see oftentimes people bringing stuff into the record store to sell, and you definitely see it on record store day. On record store day, you see the people that are just scooping up shit to flip it. As soon as they go home, they're throwing it up on eBay. But then you also see
some guys doing it in line.
Yeah,
before they're even checked out.
Yeah, and then you've got guys that will come in and sell us stuff, and they'll sell us 3-4 copies of the same album because they bought all the variants when it came out. Mm-hmm. Probably figuring that, yeah, I'll sit on these and someday I'll flip them for more.
Dude, have you ever done that?
No, the closest I ever got to kind of doing that was when the Neurosis reissues were coming out, and Enemy of the Sun, and the what is it? Not Souls at Zero. When that came out, I scooped up a couple of copies of that, not to flip, but to sit on, and waited till a birthday or Christmas, and then gave them like, wow, where did you get that? Like, I bought it when it was reissued and sat on.
Right. But my question was like, you know, you buy something because you're like, oh, well, one day this is going to be worth a shitload of money, and just, dude, never, dude.
No.
I'm like, dude, everything I get, man, I get home and I fucking rip it open and I throw it on, and I'm like, like.
Same. That's what I do. I feel like everyone. I mean, obviously, Johnny's collection puts all of our collections to shame. I can't say anything about that,
but that doesn't. I mean,
well, I mean, just from like a standpoint of being jealous that you have all these rad records that I want that I don't have. But I mean, my thing is, I would say I collect records, but I would be a record collector if money was no object. I mean, there's certain things that I definitely would record collect if I could afford it, like Danzig related stuff. I would buy all the weird old Misfits variants, all the different color pressings of all that shit if I could afford it.
See, like with Black Sabbath, I buy all the bootlegs I can find. You know, they're dumping more of that stuff onto vinyl now, or older bootlegs, or resurfacing stuff that hadn't been bootlegs that hadn't been repressed in 30 years or whatever. I scoop up that stuff, so that kind of leads up to a question. Like, are you a completist, and what bands are you a completist of, and does that extend only through their official catalog, or do you need all the more popular, kind of higher quality bootlegs?
I'll buy like Misfits and Danzig bootlegs if it's stuff that I don't have. I'm not going to buy a different labeled bootleg if it's like the same show I already have a bootleg of.
Yeah. Well, and there's some bands I gotta try to get every single fucking thing they ever released, and then some. Other bands, it's like I may love 2 of their records and listen to them all the time, but not own or give a shit about 5 of their other records.
Mm-hmm.
So,
believe it or not, I'm not a completist of any band,
Really?
unless they put out like 1 or 2 records.
right.
Because to me, pretty much every band that ever existed, if they went on too long, they started to suck. I mean, to me.
True.
I mean, yeah, and I'll go farther with some bands than others, like AC/DC, for instance. I mean, I think AC/DC was really good all the way up until For Those About to Rock. After that, I know it's the same stuff, but I just don't want to hear it anymore.
See, I stick with AC/DC up through Fly on the Wall.
And Kiss. You know how much I love old Kiss, but
man, you and I talked about Kiss.
I just cannot go past like when they came out with the solo records and Dynasty. I was just like, I'm out, And
see, I'm good at Animalized,
but and I could go on and on. Black Sabbath, all the way up to the 2 Dio records. I mean, Dio was fucking killer, but then I couldn't get into the Gillian stuff.
Oh, God, no, the album.
Dude. Just on and on and on. Iron Maiden, can't go past. Seventh Sign. I mean,
see, Maiden, I have a hard time getting past. Somewhere in Time.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I own everything up until somewhere. Well, excepting like all the weird little fucking 7 inches and shit, but all the albums up from the first one up through Somewhere in Time, and I love them. And everything after that, I don't even know if I've ever even fucking heard it because I don't care.
Yeah, and it goes back to kind of what we were all saying. Pretty much, we were all saying in the beginning. If you don't listen to it, I mean, most of us seem like we don't collect what we don't listen to.
Exactly.
I'm not going to listen to Fly on a Wall. If I want to listen to AC/DC, I'm going to bust out one of the old fucking. It'll probably be Highway to Hell because that album just fucking rips, Yeah. Or maybe the live one. Let it. You know, the live. God,
Let There Be Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But
I don't.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to listen to the later stuff. And with Iron Maiden, I almost always go to Di'Anno stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I do love Number of the Beast, of course.
Like Gordon's thrown out there, No Prayer for the Dying was sick. See, it probably was, but I don't know, because by the time Somewhere in Time came out, and then there was a little bit of a lag between that and Seventh Son. But during that lag is when we started listening to Metallica and Megadeth and Slayer and Anthrax. And all of a sudden, like, Iron Maiden's pretty tame. We had moved on. And, you know, then years later went back and like, what's that, you know, catchy Iron Maiden song? Oh, that was actually on Seventh Son. I remember hearing it and I bought a copy of it. Like, it's an okay album. But at that, being at the age when those albums were coming out new, we'd moved on. We were jamming Slayer and Metallica, and Iron Maiden's what, you know, the other kids at school were listening to.
Yeah, not to say that any of those subsequent records are not good. I just don't know if they are good or not, because I didn't care. It's like Josh said, it's like, you know, there's a million other things I could have been listening to at that time, and I did, you know. So
I was listening to this podcast the other day, listening and watching a little bit. Analog Attack, that Brazil, that Brazzle Dazzle there turned me on to, and talking to Tom Lyle from Government Issue, and he was talking about how he collects for the quality of the sound, that he's an audiophile.
I was wondering if that. Oh, sorry.
He's always seeking out the best sounding version of an album, and if that means it's the 1989 German pressing, then that's the one he's after. And when he gets that, he'll sell his other version. Or does that mean it's the 2015 Japanese repress? Then he'll buy that and sell his other copies or whatever.
Dude,
he's always trying to find the best sounding one.
I was always seeing these posts that he was making. And so it's like, like GI, totally seminal band for me. And like, speaking of being a completist, with the exception of Legless Bull, I've got every GI record that I could ever get my hands on. I think I've got them all except that 7-inch. But he was posting all this shit. Just this. I'm thinking of him as like the fucking punk rock guitar player, you know, a very influential one. But he's putting up all these records of this just bizarre fucking psychedelic shit and fucking stoner rock and just all this insane shit that I never in a million years would have pictured him collecting. But it's, as you said, dude, he's like, okay, I've got 8 versions of this record and I finally got the Grail version, you know, and not necessarily the most collectible or the rarest or whatever. It's like, this one sounds the best, so these ones all go away.
That makes a lot of sense with the direction they took too.
Yeah, man. And
there's another band I only go up to a certain point with.
See, I don't know. I like when they get into their kind of post-punk stuff. And
I've had a conversation with both of the Lent boys.
Yeah, on that Analog Attack, Tom's even talking about that, how he still loved hardcore. He wanted to play more hardcore still, and like there's one hardcore song on the album. He's like, yeah, that was mine. I told him we needed to still have a hardcore song, even though Stab wasn't into it anymore. Stab wanted to move on. But yeah, it's a pretty cool episode, that Analog Attack. I think he's only got a few episodes up, but that Tom Lyle episode is kind of what got me thinking about this particular topic in general.
Yeah, that's cool.
He had some great records for sale for a while, and pretty much all of them have been bought. But when he first popped up on Discogs, he had a whole bunch of really, really good stuff for sale. So
how much are you turning and flipping stuff still, John?
I stopped flipping records a long time ago, and I've been for years just trying to get rid of the crap. Well, it's not crap, but I've been trying to get rid of all the stuff I bought to flip, and it just takes way too long to get rid of it. So I'm not into I only buy for myself.
Hit me up, man. Hit me up. Some of my best records I've gotten from you. So
yeah, that guy needs more records
anytime. Like,
well,
I've been thinking about messaging you actually for records.
Yeah, you came in during one of my purges, So
Nice.
I have so many records. I keep making the collection more concise.
See, yeah, I was gonna ask that. Who purges? Who on here? I go through my records probably once or twice a year and try to pull out a little stack. I'm like, I'm not gonna listen to this.
The only time I ever did that was when Chain Reaction first opened up, and I brought in. I kind of just went through, and I was like, okay, I never listened to this stuff. And like, ironically, Fly on the Wall was in there, and Dynasty was in there, and shit. And it was just like, I remember Josh, you're like, dude, you don't like this AC/DC record? I'm like, nah. But that was the only purge I've ever done, man. When I was just like, I'm just getting rid of shit just for the sake of getting rid of it.
See, with having the record store, and like, I'm taking home 3, 4, 5, 6 records a week sometimes, and then I'm like, oh, I need that, and then I'm like, nah, I don't really do that. Take back, put in.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten rid of records under dire circumstances. You know, like I couldn't pay the fucking rent. You know, I'd sell my first pressing of This Is Boston, Not LA. You know, and kick myself in the ass for it, but never just to get rid of them.
Right.
You know?
If I have an exact same copy, I'll get rid of it. Like I had a distro for a little while, and all the copies I got rid of. But other than that, I try to keep every single thing because it's a part of my timeline. You know, like even if I had really fucking terrible taste back when I was in, 11th grade, I like to kind of look back and see what I was into back then, and I just don't. Well, I don't have as many records as you guys, but like I like even, I don't know, it's autobiographical, so I like to.
That's cool.
I'm hoping to never get rid of them. A bunch of them I've gotten stolen, but that's not a purge. That's just fucking bullshit.
Purged.
Not a ton, but a lot of them have been nicked. But
I told
luckily, those people have bad fucking taste because they never take my favorite records.
I sold a bunch of records to, Val at the time for Chain Reaction when they opened, like a ton.
So I was going to use Val as an example too. Like Val, he would buy whatever version he could get his hands on, and then maybe use that one to work his way back to an earlier pressing, and hopefully
it's called a placeholder.
Is that it? A placeholder?
That's what we call it. Yeah.
See, he's a collector.
I am.
Yeah.
He's got the correct word for
none of us know what the fuck we're talking about. I give him shit that he'd defend himself by, but look at John, look at Johnny. Like, no, I'm looking at you, Al.
I know. I know words.
We'll see if John remembers. We had gone to Texas to see Amoebix. I got freaking lit. Especially me. We got wasted. Wake up the next morning. I'm hungover. I'm dying. And John's driving us all over fucking Texas, going to record stores. And I'm laying down in the back seat the whole time. I don't even know where I just wake up and we're at another record store. And we go into one. So I don't remember the names of any of them. I remember end of an ear or something like that.
End of an ear. That's an awesome.
Yeah. But
awesome
there's one that we went into, and I saw a record. I generally, and occasionally I'll buy something online, but I'm still kind of like to find my stuff in the wild as much as possible. Obviously it gets harder and harder, but I saw a record that I've been looking for since, probably 91, 92, since I was in college. And I was like, holy shit, I pulled it up, and John snatches it out of my hand.
Oh.
It says, I need that. And then I snatched it back out of John's hand, said, I need that. It was that Kilroy record.
I didn't know. I've never done that. No.
I was like, damn it.
Fever dream. That's a fucking fever dream right there.
No,
I hate people like that. I never do that.
Because then you started telling me stories about, hey, you go park the van, and other people hopping out and telling you the record pops in the wrong location or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that happened on Negative Degree Tour. I was parking the van, the fucking side door flew open. We were pulling up the double decker, and Mark.
Just like you get it 5 or 10 minutes
out of the van, and we started heading into the store before I could even get it in the parking spot.
Shit.
And they were like, well, you're just going to go in and buy everything. Like, I wanted at least a shot at it.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense now. I used to think that was kind of a dick move, but now you put it that way, like, yeah, you probably do need to get the jump on John. So that does make John, go park the van. We need at least 5 minutes alone.
Even though I do not remember that, I mean, I remember driving around that day. I can say definitively I did not take it out of your hand. And if I did, it was like a joke. It was not, no. No, because I would never do that because I fucking hate people like that. And there are people like that. Like someone like record swap and they'll be like hanging over you, watching you, and they'll be like, and you go past it. And you go past it, and obviously you don't want it, but they'll be like, scoop right over you, and you're just like, dude, get off of me. I know I don't want it, but just fucking wait and then move in. Like, I mean, get off of me, like you're in my fucking space, dude.
I caught myself doing that a while back. There was this guy having a big record sale in the Glens behind the record store, and I can flip through them pretty fucking fast, and I see, I can flip through my bin and look and see what he's doing at the same time. And I see him passing stuff up. I'm like, dude, you want that? He's like, well, no. I'm like, I'll take it. And I'm like, oh, you want that one? No, I'll take that one. So, I work two bins at the same time, kind of have that guy do my flipping for me. But I could tell I was starting to piss him off. So I waited a few minutes.
Yeah, that's irritating.
Oh, that's super fucking irritating, man.
That is irritating.
And I've actually had to like intervene at the shop when people do that. Like I'll see people like lurking someone else, and I'm like, dude, just go look at that shit for 5 minutes, like.
So we bought.
Like, if you don't know this guy, you need to just like fuck off for a minute, because it's super rude, man, and it'll. I don't know, man. I hate it when people do that to me. It hasn't happened very much in my life, but it's just like, dude, I'll elbow you in the neck if you don't get off my back,
When we bought Ivan's records, we in several hundred, early thrash and like death metal records, mostly European pressings, South American, Mexican pressings, and we put all that shit on sale. And there's this one kid that he had just gotten a settlement from a car accident, and he was asking like, when does that go on sale? Like, it all goes on sale tomorrow, first come, first serve. So that kid got there early. He was first person in line, came in, and scooped up as many records as he could afford that day with his car accident settlement. And people were getting pissed at him. And they were like, save some records for the rest of us. And he brought them up to the counter. He was like, is it okay if I buy these? I'm like, yeah, dude, you got up early. You got front, first in line, and you got the money. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, dude, it's not like you held them for him or something,
Yeah.
I was there that day. That was hilarious.
He felt bad. I felt bad that he felt bad. Like, nah, dude, your money. You got up early, stood in front of the door for an hour and a half.
I mean, if you're not like stealing it from someone else that is like trying to get it, and you're just like, no, that's mine, then yeah, it's all yours. You got it.
I think the only irritating thing.
He even offered back a couple of records that one other dude was looking for. He's like, yeah, I got enough. You were really looking for that one record. Here it is, and here's that one you're looking for. I'm taking the rest.
I think first come, first serve. But I think the only irritating thing would be like on record store day, for instance, which I've never been to one ever. But let's say you've got 10 copies of a rare record that, for sure people are going to buy and fucking flip it on the internet, like you guys were talking about, in a couple of hours. Mm-hmm. If somebody walks in, they get to the front of the line and they walk in and they buy all fucking 10.
Yeah.
Walk up. That's fucking.
See that?
You don't let him do that.
Yeah.
Because all these people are like, a lot of people are waiting to get in and get their shot at that.
Yeah.
If you don't have a buy, you can only buy one policy, and they buy all of them. That's fucking shitty.
I think that might be record store day policy now.
If you brought a collection in and somebody gets there early and is like, I need this, I need this, I need this, and somebody comes in and is like, what the fuck, man? What's left for me? It's like, hey.
Dude, I remember.
That's not even like collecting, That's even like outside of the collector versus like collecting question. That's just doing some bullshit like business that doesn't even have to do with like any sort of love for music or anything. So,
Yeah, that's just
we've made people put those back, and they get all pissed off. We're like, nope, you can only get one, but I need one for my brother who's in the hospital. Like, yeah.
Well, I remember like the first record store day that I worked at the shop. That's how it was. Like dudes would come in and they would grab all the copies of whatever release it was, and everyone else was just left hanging. And I was just like, dude, that's super.
Yeah, I remember the first record store day. We didn't really quite get it, and then after that, we started limiting it. No,
right after that, we were like, no more of that.
I remember early record store days. I'd go to the Angelos by my house. Not many people would go there anyway. There'd be like 4 or 5 of us that would gather outside, and we'd all talk to each other in the line. What are you looking for? And we'd go in like, hey, here's that record you're looking for. Oh, I got this one. I'm like, oh, okay, great. And we'd all go in and help each other out, find what we were looking for, a bunch of strangers, and then all walk out happy.
Dude, I remember the first one I worked. Dude, we opened the door and it was like Black fucking Friday, dude, and elbows are getting thrown and people are getting knocked over and fucking kicked in for a fucking, whatever.
A lot of those records are terrible, man. Like,
dude, record store day has just gotten so bad.
One record store day ever since the beginning of it, and that was the Fix, Vengeance, and Jan's Room repress because I had to have that fucking Fix Vengeance repress because I don't have an original.
Yeah, record store day has just got so bad. Like, the packaging is terrible. The throwaway songs, it's just bad.
Well, and it also makes it hard for people who are trying to make records to get their records made because it's
backs all the pressing plants.
Yeah, the pressing plants are backed up for these 900 fucking David Bowie 7 inches that they're making for record store day this year.
No.
But if we just want a regular record made.
Yeah, like David Bowie has stuff for every single record store day, and usually more than one release, like.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just use that as an example because I've never seen a record store day without David Bowie records.
Yeah. David Bowie and the Grateful Dead, man.
Look, Dracula says hi. Who that?
Dracula.
All right, so what are a few other bands besides the ones that you guys listed, maybe more like punk or hardcore or metal that you guys have collected just about everything in the discography? Because that was kind of the original question. Is there any other like?
Yeah, for me, the main two are Black Sabbath and Ozzy. I own every album, even with all Sabbath's lineup changes. I own every album. I own as many of at least the higher quality bootlegs that I can get my hands on. I've got some crazy Ozzy shit, man, but those are probably my two. Some of for me, that's probably. I mean, then there's certain like Nausea. They only had the one LP and a couple 7 inches, but Nausea. I don't know.
Well, it's like Johnny said, man. Unless a certain band put out just a small handful of records,
right?
That I probably own all of. There's no bands with like an extensive catalog that I own every record. Like I don't own every AC/DC record. I don't own every Black Sabbath record. I don't own every Maiden or fucking Judas Priest record.
I own every Judas Priest record, some including some bootlegs like the Live at the Rainbow.
Do you have all the originals of those Judas Priest records?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Agnostic. I love Agnostic Front. Some albums I like better than others. I own every album that they've put out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. There are definitely bands that I have all of their records, but maybe all of their records is 3.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's same here. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I have a ton of records where they put out 1 7-inch.
Same here. Yeah.
So I have their complete catalog.
Yeah, totally. I've got their whole discography, man.
Complete catalog that's just 7-inch too.
Yeah.
Like Neurosis, I have I guess all the official Neurosis releases.
Cool.
Yeah, those bands that, and again, they didn't put out a ton of material. Well, I was actually flipping through my Amoebix records the other day. I was like, for a band that didn't put out a lot, I have a lot of Amoebix records.
With Judas Priest, will you get the international pressings as well if you ever like find them or anything?
Probably not, unless there was something unique about it. Kind of like what Johnny was saying earlier. Even with the Ozzy stuff, I do have some of the Blizzard of Oz. I've got the Brazilian pressing because the art on the back is, or the photo on the back is different, and the Ozzy logo is done in different colors. Yeah. And there's the color variants depending on what country it was pressed in. Bark at the Moon. So the American pressing was like what, red and yellow. Some countries it's blue and yellow, green and yellow. Like some of those.
I remember we got one of those blue ones in here once. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, dude, I saw that blue one and I was like, I had no fucking idea. I was like, I've never seen that. But see now, like back to the variants thing. Like I will buy something that I already own because of like Johnny said, with like different cover art or fucking, like I've got multiple copies of the same record of like different pressings with different covers, because it's kind of a different record at that point,
I think don't you sometimes just grab the different. Exactly. Winston, don't you sometimes just scoop up the different colored vinyl even? Because I've seen you like, this one's like yellow. I'm going to grab this one too.
Well, nowadays you can do that because like when they repress it, they'll often do like tons of different colors at the same time.
Oh yeah.
But like with the original shit, like it's like, oh man, like I've got this fucking Christ on a Crutch record on red vinyl. And as far as I know, they're all on red vinyl except for there's like 10 that were on white. And it's like I almost want to buy every fucking copy of it that I see just to see if it's on white.
Yeah. Is that
but if I got the white copy, I would get rid of the red copy.
Yeah. With that one, probably not, because it's such a kick-ass album.
It is a kick-ass album.
Crime Pays When Pigs Die.
Yep.
Yeah, that album fucking rules, man.
Yeah.
On red.
On red.
Yeah. On New Red Archives.
On New Red Archives, exactly.
Yeah. That's funny. That is a kick-ass record.
Yeah, the first time I ever heard that was on some college radio station. We were in upstate New York. We were going to
Josh.
What?
Do you have Judas Priest Killing Machine instead of Hellbent for Leather?
No, I don't have it. I've got Hellbent.
See, I know it exists, but I've never seen it.
I've never come across it. If it came into the shop, I would probably claim it as my own.
I mean, it's the same record. It's just the original press was called.
How many copies do you have, Johnny? 9?
What's that?
How many copies of it do you own?
Just 2.
Just 2?
Yeah. Just Hellbent for Leather and then the original on red vinyl, Killing Machine.
We had a copy of Killing Machine on red vinyl come through here.
What?
You did?
Yeah.
I don't even know. Sometimes it's better I don't know.
What about Point of Entry? Do you have the original sleeve on that? Looking out the jet window, looking at the plane wing instead of down the highway.
Oh,
yeah, the only one I've ever seen.
I've got the one with like the computer paper down the highway.
Yeah, the original one was the UK one was.
I was looking at the yeah. That's right. I forgot that had a different album.
Do not have every Judas Priest record.
Yeah, I've
got all the, and most of those that I bought when they came out. Growing up, there's
Sure, yeah.
From probably from what, British Steel on. I bought it when it came out, and then being in Columbia Record House, I went and scooped up the rest of them.
Yeah, I got a bunch of my records when I was a teenager from the Columbia record thing.
Oh, yeah.
Take the little stamp out and put it on, and get the records. That's where I got Mob Rules through that, and Riot, Fire Down Under.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and a bunch of other ones I can't remember, but those two I remember putting a little stamp on and sending it.
Yeah,
in.
but
tape a penny onto it.
Yeah, my neighbor and I, he lived 50 yards from me. We both had our Columbia House memberships, and we coordinated. All right, I can only get one record, and he can only get one. All right, I'm going to get this one, you get that one. So then we'd each get our records in the mail and then dub it on cassette for the other person. So we did all our record buying. It was coordinated like that when we were younger.
Yeah, it was all mail order
Or well, because of where I lived, and unless we went somewhere, we could convince mom to drive us, sometimes to Glenwood or even Grand Junction, and then it'd be like, well, we got the hour and a half drive home, so I'll buy the cassette so we can listen into the car, but you buy the LP. We switched like that too.
I'm before cassettes, so everything was LP for 7 inches, and I was fortunate just because I always lived next to near big cities, so especially when I was really starting to get into music when I was a teenager, I was right outside of Detroit. We actually lived right in between Detroit and Ann Arbor, so Ann Arbor was great too because it was a college town and they had some really good record stores that had all kinds of shit. I was a metalhead, as we've talked about, Josh.
Yep.
I was a metalhead first, long before I was into punk or hardcore, just because that was the natural progression out of rock and roll, which
for sure
existed when I was born. And so metal was when I went down to Ann Arbor, School Kids Records, they just had all I was buying these rock records. And they were just like, oh, man, you'll love this record. It's a fucking hard rock record. And I took it home and I'm like, whoa, this is way harder than fucking Aerosmith and fucking Nazareth and stuff. And it was, of course, all this crap coming out of Europe that the new wave of British heavy metal, they didn't call it that then. But, man, I was just really into that. I bought so much of that shit when just right there, right at the record store. It was pretty cool. And then when Kerrang started coming out, they carried it at School Kids, and I would just take it off the rack, and I would go back to the reviews section and look. If they gave it, I can't remember what their rating was, but if they gave it 5 hammers or whatever, I would just walk right over. Oh shit, they got it.
Yeah.
I could buy it.
See, man, it's so funny how the tie-in between the old magazines and what you got. It's like you would buy shit that you never fucking heard just on a fucking review.
Yeah.
If
you like this band, you'll love this band, and you go
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another way we would look at it is if you got Hit Parader or Faces or whatever, Circus Magazine, just flip to the back, the black and white ads, the record labels that don't have enough money to run a color ad. And that's where you'd find Metallica and Slayer and SOD. And that's where we got into that stuff is, if it's a black and white ad, it's probably cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought Kill 'Em All right out of a Kerrang review in the store. I read the magazine in the store at School Kids in Ann Arbor, and they gave it a great review. And they had it, so I bought it. And that was it.
So
I
just
saw on that tour too, and then I was just like, "Fuck, this is great!" And then I saw them when they came through.
We've got it.
Wasp is the bigger band at the time.
With just a few minutes left here, is to try to keep it around an hour because I got shit to do. You have shit to do, and people's attention spans, they don't want to fucking listen to us babble all night. What is it? What's your holy grail? What's still out there that, god dang, you just can't get your hands on that? You come across it, you're gonna shell out whatever it takes. Do you have a holy grail left, John?
I got a bunch. I got the list upstairs. I could go get it. I could rattle a couple off though for sure. Fix Vengeance, an original would be. I would love to have that. Cough Cool Misfits.
I got one of those.
Bullet.
I don't
Original.
have an actual Bullet, but
I have all the rest of the Misfits, but those two I need to complete it. What else? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. The Eat Communist Radio, 7-inch. There's about 30. First 2 Trevete Cadets. Love to have those originals.
There's so fucking many.
Yeah.
Because there's you've got 1,000 fucking records, but there's 3,000 that you never got.
Oh yeah.
I
have over 8,000, and there's my list of my top wants is probably about 30 or 35 records, and they're all fucking expensive.
Yeah. Now, see, for me,
Fear, I love Living in the City.
Yeah. Like the only record that I really, really, really want that I don't have is an original Chiswick copy of Machine Gun Etiquette. And I don't even know that it's like impossibly rare or anything. I just want it because that's the record that turned me into a punk rock kid, you know?
Yeah.
And I just want the fucking original copy of it from when it was new, you know? And I don't even know. I've never even looked for it on Discogs.
Yeah,
I could go on there tonight. What's that?
You should buy that. You can get it.
Yeah, I'm sure I can. And I'm sure that it's not something that's insanely rare. It's just something that's like my grail because that was like the start of it all for me, you know? Or also the Smash It Up 7-inch, which I'm sure is maybe not readily available, but I'm sure they're out there for, you know, under $1,000.
The Smash It Up 7-inch, I think, is being repressed. I think I remember ordering it.
I can't remember if I sold it, but I upgraded my copy, and I had kind of a beat up copy. Yeah,
of what? Smash It Up?
I'll hit you up.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm down, dude.
Mine is an original copy of this band called State Children, Bomb Shelter for Money Making. Do you have that?
No.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
That's off the top of my head. And I know where to get it, but it's $950. So I don't have that. But like there's only like 100 of these flexies made, and a fuck ton of them were lost. And that's one of it's such a unique record. The sound, it's like, I forget what year it's from, 82 or 83 maybe. But that's mine.
What about you, Dean?
Ones I'm looking for, I really want a copy of Danzig 4 on vinyl, only released in Europe.
What's that other Danzig album that Snakes and
Circle of Snakes?
Circle of Snakes, man. I'd love to have a copy of that on any format.
Mm-hmm. I used to have a CD copy of it when it first came out. I don't have a copy of that one either. I mean, Danzig stuff I'm always looking for. Misfit stuff too. Like, I don't have a lot of original Misfit 7-inches. I'd love to get some of those. Yeah.
John, were those?
What's
I
that?
don't have any doubles, but I've got them all except for Cough Cool.
When you were coming up, like by Ann Arbor, like, were those records kind of just readily available in that region at that time?
What records? What do you mean?
The Misfits records when you were living by Ann Arbor.
Oh, well, like I said, I was a total metalhead. I hated punks and thought they were all, you know. I mean, I was a pretty ignorant teenager.
Did you see? Did Ann Arbor have much of a punk scene? Detroit?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
I mean, I know there's bands.
The only reason I ask is because, like, the dudes that I know from Detroit back then, like, they're all sitting on all those records. They were like, yeah, they were just fucking, they were around. You know, you could just go to the store and buy them.
I imagine they were there, and I could have bought them, but I wasn't into that stuff at all. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, I was, I was definitely your typical, like, meathead, metalhead dude.
Metalhead,
didn't accept anything outside of my realm of. Yeah. There was no. I mean, a bunch of us here, kind of older. Like, I mean, back then there wasn't the crossover or anything. Like, nobody. There were no metal bands wearing Misfits shirts or Discharge shirts or anything. They were, they were weirdos, and, like, it was different.
Dean, I'm sorry that I totally fucking interrupted you there, dude. I'm totally rude, and
You're fine. I didn't. I mean, I said what I had to say. I got nothing else. Dance stuff. That's my dance related.
Okay, well then I cut you off at the perfect time. Then
there you go.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I wish I would. I imagine that stuff was there though because of the Touch and Go and the Necros did, did a lot of stuff with the Misfits. So I imagine the stuff was there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wenzel does a cool collecting thing that I always like that you. How's your list going for the Paul's Boutique records, man?
Dude, it's
That's
just
such a cool idea.
it's stale. It hasn't progressed much at all this year. I've got probably 40 out of like 150. So
Okay.
I haven't got shit in this year. Maybe one. I think I got a good Ronnie Laws record, and I think that's it, dude, for the whole last year.
Okay. Well, damn.
So yeah, on that, man. But again, like the whole thing with that is I could probably go on to Discogs tonight and fulfill the list,
Mhm.
you know, if I had some mega cash. But I'm like, I don't want to do it that way, you know. I just want to.
Takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, I want to find it when I find it, you know, and when I do find it, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I agree. It's way more fun buying it out in the wild, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, crate digging is therapeutic and fun.
Yeah, dude. And it's hard to explain the hunt to someone who doesn't know about the hunt, you know? Like,
yeah, when your heart starts beating, like, holy shit, you're shaking, you know, all super excited.
I'll be the first one to admit too that once you get to like where I'm at, it's not as fun as it was.
Yeah,
when I
dude.
first started.
Do you
I
still
don't-
actively? Oh, sorry. Do you still
I
actively?
can't remember the last time I had that thrill. Like, holy shit, I can't believe what I had my hands on right now.
See, I've never bought a record on Discogs. I've ordered many records like from the bands or the labels, but like it's like, oh, I really want this, and there it is. So I'm gonna buy. I've never done that.
Mm-hmm.
I bought zero records on Discogs.
So even before we got on here, Dean and I were kind of talking about some of this, and like I don't really have holy grails. There's some records I'm looking for, you know, and I'd love to have a copy of Dag Nasty 4 on the Floor. I've got a CD. I'd like to have that on vinyl. I looked it up on Discogs. Like, yeah, it's like $30, but it's right there. I don't know if I'm going to buy it off of Discogs. I'd rather come across it.
Yeah, it's weird because I remember in years past there were things that you know, and this is like way pre-internet, you know, where it's like, oh, if you found a fucking like a Minor Threat 7-inch or you know, Misfits 7-inch, it's like pre-internet. If you could actually get your hands on that was so massively fucking huge. You're like, I'm the only one that I know who owns this record.
Oh yeah, like
now it's like, oh wait, you have that record, so do I now. Yeah. You know?
Amoebics Arise. When I got my copy of that in probably 92, 93, somewhere in there. Yeah, pre-internet. I knew it. My friend had it. He's the only one I knew who had it, and I was always bugging him for it. And then he moved, and so I was still bugging him. I'd write him, call him, like, dude, you've got to sell me that record. And I finally convinced him to. You know, there's no PayPal or anything, so I, you know, stuff some money in envelope and I mail it to him. I get the record in the mail, and you got to give him props. I get the, you know, there's the cover. I open it up. There's the record, sticker on it. Throw the record on the turntable. And it was some fucking crazy electronic dance music. He had actually gone to Kinko's and made a copy of the label of the set sticker and stuck it on there and put it in it and mailed it to me. And I was fucking pissed.
But he gave you the cover. He gave you the actual cover.
What's that?
He gave you the actual cover.
He gave me the actual cover with the insert and everything.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Sticker on a different record. And oh man, I was living. Then I had, you know, he was just fucking with me. And then I had to wait another week to get the record in the mail again.
That's pretty goddamn funny, dude. I like it.
Yeah, I just got mail from that dude today. I bought a Conan comic off of him, and I haven't paid him. I owe him a few bucks.
I used to love those. I used to buy those just down at the local drugstore, the big magazine ones.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The Savage Sword of Conan.
Yep.
I forgot. Oh, this is the
and heavy metal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I didn't understand half the shit when I was younger, like in heavy metal, especially because it was some of those we're a little esoteric.
Heavy metal when we were younger, we didn't understand it. We just knew that there was cartoon boobs.
Yeah.
Well, it was like, you didn't get any of it, but you knew it was verboten, so you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I've got a copy of heavy metal. I have no idea what's going on, but that girl's got boobs.
The art just looked good though. Like, I mean, there was always some brutal violence shit in there, and then there was like trippy, like LSD trippy kind of stuff in there, and yeah.
Well, and that was the thing. At that time, I couldn't really, like, the first time I ever saw heavy metal, I was probably like 8, and I couldn't wrap my head around the violent imagery or the trippy imagery. I didn't know what the fuck.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Whoa, this is crazy. No idea what any of it represented, but it was still fucking cool.
Yeah. Definitely.
Somebody asked, "Does Johnny have a copy of Spook along with Zachary?"
Spook along with Zachary. I don't know what
I'm taking that as a no.
Who asked that? That's weird. It looks like Chain Reaction Records asked that.
Dean.
Look at me. I would not ask like that.
He's the only one at Chain Reaction right now.
I just looked it up to try and see what it is.
I wonder if Justin typed that in there somehow. I wonder he never came back.
You pissed him off, dude.
He didn't want to be part of this now.
I sent him the link. So Carlos Aponte says, I missed all of those awesome pre-internet years, placing some mail orders with Deluxe, Blacklist in California, Metal Disc, and Toxic Shock. Yeah. Oh, I didn't think, Justin. Where are you, Justin? How are you able to type on the Chain Reactions thing, but yet not being here? Justin, talking about esoteric. He's got some esoteric powers he's exercising here.
He's the poltergeist.
Sometimes even today when I order off Discogs and I get it in the mail and it's like a more valuable record, sometimes even today, even to me, it still kind of feels like cheating a little bit. Because, like, I don't know, I still started when, before like Discogs even. So, like, I don't know, there's good things and bad things about Discogs, I think, but I don't know. It still feels fucking awesome to find something like that you want and have wanted for a long time out in the wild, and you can still do that.
I can go on there and buy a copy of Four on the Floor right now. Another record that I'm always kind of generally looking for is Welcome to Venice. I go on there right now and pay $80 for a copy of it, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem that exciting.
Yeah. Well,
especially with like both those records, like Four on the Floor, I have a CD copy. It's not an amazing album. It's a good album. And Welcome to Venice certainly isn't an amazing album, but I want it because of its like historical significance. But so it's just, I would love to find a copy of it.
Yeah, but the fact that you can get your hands on one tonight if you choose to do so, and you pass, and then the day comes that you do find one in the wild, will make it that much more badass. Because they'll be like, oh, hell yeah. I could have just,
I'll at least go for like, I don't know, try to get it like from Sorry State or Radiation Records. Like they get used stuff. And that feels like at least a little less, like not as like cheating as like Discogs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, same like
even cheating, dude. It's like if you want it, you get it. And
I would for sure. Those feels like cheating. I'll watch some of the Doctor Strange videos, and I want that. And it sends me a record. I don't even know how much I'm going to end up paying for it, as he often doesn't tell you the price.
I mean, the fact that Discogs exists to me is very cool. But again, I've ordered 0 records off Discogs ever. It's just. When I find something cool that I want or need, I buy it, And as I said, like with Machine Gun Etiquette, I could order it tonight, and I won't, because I'll wait until I find one, or somebody is like, here, dude, I've got this one for sale or trade, and I'll be like, hell yeah.
I'd love to have Carcass Heartwork on vinyl. And well, they just repressed Swan Song, so I'm going to wait a little while and see if they repress Heartwork. And
well, right, dude. It's like I need fucking Out of Hand on vinyl.
Yeah,
I've got it.
So there's certain records you need. I needed that, and I did go scoop that up on Discogs a few years ago.
Well, and I'm like, I've got it on CD and I can listen to it all fucking day. But like, I want that fucking junk. But I'm like,
yeah,
come on, Beer City.
So Completist, like Attitude Adjustment. That was a band I had to hunt everything down, a couple 7 inches and whatever. They don't have a ton of stuff, but I was like, I love it. I loved all the different versions of Attitude Adjustment, and had to go track that shit down.
Yeah, but I'm like, dude, come on, Beer City. Put that fucker out.
What's Beer City working on right now? I can't remember. I just saw the other day. Something. No, I was going to say the Condemned to Death stuff, but Puke and Vomit just reissued that stuff. I know Beer City's got some surprises for 2021. Can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of it, again, all of it's good. I mean, if you want to spend more money and get an original, fine. If you don't, get a reissue, and fuck it. If you just want the music, just stream everything. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's all good. Like what? I mean, obviously we're all like really obsessed with fucking music. Otherwise we wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah,
because it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I remember like the first like recent reissue that I got actually Josh gave it to me for my birthday, and it was a reissue of More Fun Than an Open Casket Funeral. And I opened it, and it's like this black and white and green splatter wax, and it fucking sounds better than the original copy. And I'm like, and it's not all full of scratches and skips and pops and shit, and it looks wicked, and it's brand new. And I'm like, huge fan right out of the gate. I was like, fuck yeah!
All of us could just stream the music on our computer and not have all these fucking records in our house. So I mean, we obviously
I couldn't do that
with it.
I couldn't do it. I mean,
you have the physical copy. Like,
I've got. I still like to sit there and look at the album cover, the same album cover I've stared at for 40 years now.
Yeah,
I kind of look at it like you're buying a print. Like if you buy a print from an artist of where they want it, that's what a record is.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Well, and it's like, I mean, I'm the same way with books, dude. It's like I could just get a Kindle, but I've got 400 boxes of books. It's like, because I like books, because I like to hold them, and
I feel the same way about books, man. I can't do a Kindle either because of that. I like to
I go back and forth between my Kindle and books. Hey, Wenzel, have you read any of that Sandman Slim stuff? Was it Richard Kadri?
Negative.
I've read some Sandman Slim.
Dude, oh, you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just about done with the second book, man. I'm eating that shit up.
Highly recommend it or what?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't like it that much, honestly.
What's wrong with you, Dean?
I thought it was okay, but it mostly just annoyed me.
What?
Just saying.
Just everything is on YouTube these days, but like when you buy the record, especially if it's a current band, that money usually supports the band. But also you get the lyrics, you get the liner notes, so it builds a connection to that band more than just the YouTube stream, and that's why I still pick up all the physical copies of
exactly.
Dude. It's the whole package, right? The art goes with the music and vice versa, and it just works together.
It's like a little bit about the members of the bands. Sometimes they talk about like what's happening in their town, and they thank people, or like maybe they thank a small label, and you can like check out that label. And
yeah, dude, exactly. I mean,
it does so much good,
The thanks list was fucking huge for me when I was a kid, because I'd get a record that I liked, and then I'd fucking look at the thanks list, and they thank these bands, and I'm like, well, if they like these bands, then I probably like these bands,
Oh yeah, exactly.
And it's like, how much of that are you ever going to get off of a stream? Zero. So there's like so much of a huge aspect of the big picture that you're missing with just the music, And of course, we love the music. We love the music, but it's like, that's why we love the records, because of all the shit that came, the art and the fucking liners and You know,
and
it
since you
has to
have
be
it,
there. You know,
and since you have a physical copy, you'll remember it again after a couple years. That band won't get lost in the cracks, you know.
Well, and you have the physical
all the
copy.
bands I play on YouTube, I will end up forgetting them unless I buy that physical copy.
Sure, if you buy it on, if you have the digital version or whatever, there's nothing to trade. There's nothing that's gonna. You're not gonna go put it on and remember that time that you downloaded it.
right.
Remember that time I downloaded that song?
Dude, yeah, that one time I went, that was awesome.
Versus like, yeah, remember the time you grabbed that record out of my hand and I had to grab it back?
But
Like,
that
that's
speaks
the
to
memory.
the obsession. That speaks to the obsessiveness of it. You know,
Yeah, like you're not gonna have stories to tell your kids about that sick download.
yeah, but you don't really need all those stories.
Well, you don't really.
We do need those stories because that's
We do
life.
because there's something wrong with us.
There may be some stories about some sick downloads in the future. You never know.
Everyone here plays in a band too, and has played in multiple bands because we're obsessed. We
have it.
We're obsessed.
Sickness.
Dude, honestly, the older I get, my obsession grows, dude. Like,
well, sure, it will continue to go. Like as I got older, you get older and become a little more financially stable, and then you've got like the means to support your obsession. Like it just gets worse, Brazil.
Yeah. If you stay in it, you know, which is fine. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, people talk about people dropping out of the scene and stuff. It's like, whatever. Like, whatever makes you happy. And
hey, it's a PSA.
Sure, I just still like this shit.
Yeah.
If you're gonna drop out and sell your records, we buy records. Bring them by.
Yeah, I know.
One thing I was thinking about.
That's gonna be happening anytime soon.
One thing I was thinking about is a lot of people these days will say, fuck, $15-$20 for a record. That's a lot of money. And yeah, sure, that is a lot of money.
Go do some quick math and look at the inflation rates from 1984. You're paying the same prices.
But also, like, if you really like and respect that band, I mean, try getting into a van, 5 other people, living inside of it for 60 days or some gnarly punk house, putting all your cash into recording, skipping work, taking 2 nights off a week to practice. It's like whatever the record is, 20, 25, $30. Like the band has eaten way more shit and been through spent so much more money than
No, the dude that's complaining about that
is still an okay. Like you can scrounge it up. Like if you like that band enough, you can bring that together. I still think
the guy that's complaining about a $20 record is the same guy that's complaining about $10 to get into the show, and the response to that is it's not 1984, dude. Like it,
man. And
we've moved on in time, and things cost more.
The only time that my jaw hit the floor when records were 20. Okay, so I didn't buy a record for a good 10 years, and I hadn't set foot in Wax Trax or anywhere else for at least a decade until Chain Reaction opened up. And I was like, fucking record store, And I went in and records were $20 and I was like, when did that fucking happen? But I hadn't bought a record in 10 fucking years. So, I mean, I bought records off of bands that had Wax when they played shows, but I hadn't been to fucking Wax Trax, nowhere.
Yeah. I remember, we'd look at the wholesale price on some records, and Dean probably remembers, and I'd like, man, can we really price a record at $40? But that's what the numbers all said, and you use the same markup. Like, yeah, that record should actually be $45, and like, nah, just cap it at 40. But that doesn't work. You got to.
There's also a lot of kids that'll be like, that record is too expensive, but it's like, dude, your jacket and belt and boots, that was at least $100 that you spent on that. Come on.
I can't buy that $25 record, but I need to up my stud count. Is that what you're saying, Brazil?
I don't know.
Well, it also is like, who's
get $20 if you need it. If you like a band that much, you can. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know. Buy records.
You know, and people be like, oh, $30 for a record. It's like, what do you know about what went into that record, into the making of that record? You know, what the fuck do you know about it? You know nothing about it. You just know that it's $30. It's like, you know, the packaging, the fucking recording, all that shit, dude. It's all.
Sometimes you buy a record, it's a $30 record, and you open it up, and there's no insert, there's no packaging, and you buy a $20 record, there's an insert and a sticker, and you see that when you know we're buying the stuff for the shop at wholesale, and even merchandise. I remember looking at it's the same hat, same merchandise distributor. One was a Napalm Death hat, the other was a King Diamond hat. Same trucker, you know, same auto trucker hat from the same. You know, they're using the same merchandising company, Indie Merch. The Napalm Death hat wholesale was $10. The King Diamond hat wholesale is $15. That's what they negotiated in their merchandising deals. The same fucking thing. Napalm was like, we're okay taking a few less bucks. King Diamond's like, I want my $5 extra.
Right. Yeah. So you don't know what the fuck goes into it, you know, and it's like, oh, they're just trying to gouge us for a few extra bucks because they're capitalists. It's like, dude, just shit costs money.
Yeah. It costs a lot of money to record.
Yeah, dude.
And when, you know, most of us on here that, you know, when we're putting out records, do you ever figure in the recording budget to the price of the record to the cost of the record when you're pricing it, or do you only figure in the manufacturing cost?
And it's just like, also just what Brazil just said. It's like, you know, all the fucking, you know, weeks and months, years of practice. It's like you're paying for fucking rehearsal space. You know,
I know when, like, you know, Plus Flux and Heroic Records, we've never figured in the cost of the recording. We've always just based it off the cost of getting the record pressed. The recording's on us, but the cost of the record we're going to try to recoup.
But this is why I'm a fan of tapes too, because at least tapes, like I'm a big fan of tapes because that does like offer a more affordable option. You know,
for sure.
You know, like I think they have their place. I love tapes just as much.
Me too. I also really love tapes.
I've lost money on everything. Every band that I've ever been in that's ever put out anything, I've lost money because we never charge anything for them, really. I mean, you know, just maybe 50 cents over what it costs, or sometimes $1 less than it costs. So, I mean, but that's just my choice, and then the other members of the band's choice. I don't have a problem with anybody charging whatever they want, you know. I mean, if they want to get all their money back, if they want to get their recording back, that's fine, you know, whatever. I mean, bigger bands like metal bands and stuff, they put out something, and you know, if it's $30 and it's gatefold and glossy and all that, whatever. I mean, whatever they want to charge. But I guess I mostly buy shit off of little. I mean, you guys all know, but you know, but mostly I just go to like hardcore shows and stuff these days, and they're usually just you know, little bands, and the stuff's pretty reasonably priced. Always
hardcore shows these days, dude.
But yeah, and I haven't been to anything in over a year, as I already mentioned. But
right, but you know, of course, it's like, you know, you go buy an album off the band for $10, and you know that $10 is going right into their fucking gas tank.
Right, so it's still the going rate is still like $9 or $10, like usually around that. And you know damn well that they're not making shit.
Exactly.
Because I know what it costs to make a record.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
You know?
So, like, I mean, they're not making any money. So, but the prices kind of have stayed the same. But on the flip side, you know, if you go see another band and they're charging $16 for a record, okay, maybe they're getting a little bit, and that's good because they need gas money. Maybe they want to go on tour, and you know.
Well, and that's the thing.
They're on tour, you know, shit like that. So
we've all been on tour. It's like, man, it's like you must put gas in the tank. You must put food in your belly.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can't do a tour with no gas.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh,
with either. Like, so, like, if I love that band, I go to see them, and I'm like, fuck, that band was so fucking good. Like, I go walk up there, and it's $16 for the record. I'm not going to be like, dude, everybody else is charging $9. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I'll just buy it because, I mean, I loved it. I want to support this band, and if they want to give it a little bit more, then that's great. They can eat and put fucking gas in their tank.
I mean, and especially in the circles that we run in with like our bands, all the tours we've been on and the shows we've played, it's like, I mean, if somebody came up and just handed me a 20 and said, "Here, put this in your fucking gas tank," or go get some grub, it's like you're gonna fucking worship that guy. That dude is gonna get lifetime guest list forever, and he's still probably gonna pay to get in.
It's always been a hobby. I've never done it for anything other than that. Like,
No,
and just because, again, I'm obsessed with music, and collecting music isn't totally good enough. Like, I also feel like I want to make some music too, and just emulate stuff that I like, and just
and we all do, and well, I don't know that we all do right at the moment, but
I'm not doing
it.
All right, folks, let's wrap it up. It's the bottom of the next hour, 7:30. We went long, but we had people hanging in there the whole time. So this will all be on YouTube, and we'll share the link around. If you guys can share the link around as well, appreciate that. Get it some more viewers. But I'd like to thank John from Negative Degree and the Nervous, Wenzel from Grimy and Acid Pigs and Crimson Hay Baler and Elbro and Brazzle Dazzle. What's your new band, Brazzle Dazzle?
Brazzle Dazzle, local drunk. Your band is Poison Tribe.
Poison Tribe. That's right. And Dean from Zygrot and Roic. Are you in another one, Dean?
I was in Modoc.
Oh yeah, that's right. I knew there was another one. Dean likes these bands, the Modoc, Roic, Zygrot. Like
they all gotta have umlaut.
Yeah, there's something going on there with your band names, Dean.
Hey, one of those band names is also your band name, bud. So why don't you explain that one?
I was reading The Hobbit, and I thought it sounded like a cool idea.
What happened to me with all the other ones? Reading something, watching something, sounded cool.
All right, dudes. Thanks, you guys, for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
If you ever, we do these once or twice or 3 times a month. If you ever want to be on again, just let me know.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Woo.
Treat yourself to a nice meal sometime this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, about right now.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
What I'm gonna do.
All right. See you guys.
Adios.
Adios.